Hey Ricky, you know what's awesome?
What's that, Billy?
Girls.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so we mentioned it in our Saturday morning cartoons that couple of TV shows that had an effect on our mentality, so to speak, and then on the forum that we've posted a couple pictures that on Boba Fett Appreciation Day, the picture of Phoebe Cates got more likes than all of the Boba Fett pictures combined. So we'd had this conversation before because it's like with modern celebrity, right? So like you can go to Twitter, and if you have a celebrity crush or somebody, you can tweet to them, and it's not unheard of that they'd actually respond or like it or actually acknowledge that you exist. But back when we were kids, they were like goddesses, like they were
Yep.
untouchable.
Just a
Like,
dream.
they got the Ferrari, like at least the guys that are around them have Ferraris and airplanes and airwolves and and machine guns and all kinds of fun stuff, and you're just some dopey kid like watching it on TV, like
You're like,
so
hey, babe, I'd love to come pick you up on my Huffy 10 speed and take you around town.
exactly right. It's just like so. We decided we'd make a little discussion about some of the dream girls from back in the day. Um, you know, I mentioned early on, the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, old Firestar. Like, have no idea why, because Iceman's much cooler as far as things go, but I just couldn't look away. It was,
Well, I think that part of it because, well, one, it's a woman, but two, you're influenced because it's superheroes, right? So you got Spider Man. Oh, I love Spider Man. So here's a girl that's hanging out with Spider Man who's pretty dang cool.
uh-huh.
But at the same time, you're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, and then she wears that bodysuit under her clothes,
Sure.
like because Spider-Man does,
Yeah, why not?
like. And then of course we know, like everyone, nobody, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, good old Wonder Woman, Lynda
Oh,
Carter,
yeah, yeah, without a doubt.
because you have to think, because Lynda Carter, I mean, I know she was very popular in the 70s, in the late 70s. She didn't do a whole lot. She's known for one role,
Yeah,
right? Like she if you say Lynda Carter, 99 out of 100 people are going to say Wonder Woman, and the other one's going to say who,
yeah.
right?
She did have the occasional. Of course, you had your Battle of the Network stars and shows like
Of
that where they
course.
would have them. But she did have her own musical special one time, like a variety show. And I don't know if you remember this or not, but you can find a clip of it on YouTube where it's Lynda Carter and she's doing a tribute to Kiss,
Oh yeah,
and
I've seen that.
that bodysuit that she's in.
Uh-huh. That is a very bizarre video that I mean, like, you know,
Well, you watch it one
it,
time just to watch her, and then the second time to see what else is going on.
yeah. And then you realize that she's not alone on stage.
Right.
There's all these strange dancers dressed like
Dude,
Kiss with feathers and stuff.
I can't tell you how disappointed I was too, because I was in my thinking as a kid, I didn't even watch the show because it was Lynda Carter. I heard Kiss was going to be on here, right? And then when I see these guys coming out dressed like Kiss, she's singing "I Was Made for Love You," and obviously these are like solid gold dancers
Yeah,
dressed in Kiss makeup. I was mortified.
that was a very strange video. I mean, but like back then, like everybody had a variety
Yeah.
hour.
Oh
Everybody
yeah.
had a, like, you had the Brady Bunch, and just different
Tony Orlando and
star.
Dawn, Sonny and
Yeah.
Cher. I mean, everybody had a show back then.
So yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's what I mean is, though, she was so well known for Wonder Woman
Yeah.
and so beloved for that role
Yeah.
that even now with Gal Gadot, she's being compared to Lynda Carter in like just about every way.
Yeah.
It's like
Sure.
the way she looks, the way she acts, the way she fills out her suit, the way, it's like all these different things, and it's like there's been a lot of Batmans.
Yeah.
there's been a lot of Supermans. You have there's a lot of Jokers, a lot of different characters have had a lot of people fill in that costume, and to have it almost like
yeah.
Lynda Carter was kind of passing a torch.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems like nobody else was willing to touch it because she was just so good at it.
It's kind of the same deal with the Hulk, too. Look how long it took for a Hulk to actually come out that was even in the same ballpark. And, it's just one of those things. It just works,
Mm-hmm.
It's like Kurt Russell in a row. I mean, whatever he's in, he's Snake Plissken. He's, Jack Burton. You can't just replace him and it worked,
Mm-hmm. No, that's absolutely true. And so yeah, I think when I was really small, those were my probably my primary role models. Not role models, but
you know what it is with Lynda Carter. I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous, but she has that Charlie's Angels vibe about her. But she's Wonder Woman. I think that's what it is, because she's beautiful, but she's tough, but she's nice when she talks to people, but she gets down and dirty when it comes down to business.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can kind of see that parallel there of she could have very easily fit in Charlie's Angels in a way too.
I totally agree.
So the question is, the loaded question, which Charlie's Angels? Who is your favorite Charlie's Angel?
Well, I think I'm going to have to, we posted that picture of Tanya Roberts, but I know that was much later. But no, for me it's going to be Jacqueline Smith. That's my
yeah, man. I mean,
she's just,
yeah. Everybody was Farrah crazy back in the day, right? And I get it. I think I was one of those kids too, because you had, one who she was married to at the time. You also had the poster that was out there. But beauty wise, man, Jacqueline Smith, just amazing, absolutely beautiful.
And I remember when my parents used to watch that show, because I was little when it was on, and my parents used to watch that show, and I'd just be like, I was not interested in it unless she was on screen.
Yeah.
Like Kay Jackson, Farrah Fawcett,
Yeah.
Jacqueline Smith was on screen. I was like, I'm watching this. I have no idea what's going on, but I'm going to keep my eye on it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, we posted that picture of Heather Thomas, which is funny because of the blonde the blonde issue. They get her and Heather Locklear mixed up.
Yeah,
but Heather Thomas was on The Fall Guy, and
with the ex-husband of Farrah Fawcett. There you go.
Right? And Scott said that he was pretty upset that in our bounty hunter poll between Boba Fett, Colt Seavers, that he lost. I was like, don't worry, we're gonna have some battle royales coming out of some of these things because there's just too much fun stuff to talk about. But and Heather Thomas was also in T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so she wasn't just a pinup girl. But I do remember when I was a kid, we'd go to I live in a small town. We had this little, what would you even call it? It wasn't like a five and dime. It was just kind of like an everything store. It wasn't a grocery store, but we'd go there and they'd have toys. They'd have like He-Man and G.I. Joes, and then they'd have like bicycles.
Yeah.
They didn't sell food, and it wasn't like a Kmart sort of thing. It was called Wynn's. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
But they had a poster section, and you can go over and flip, and there would always be pictures of Iron Maiden. Like some of these images, like some of the stuff that we're talking about, like I have these images burned in my brain.
Sure.
There's like this Iron Maiden poster of Can I Play with Madness, where the fist is going through his head and holding his brain out the other side.
Yeah.
Just the guy in the straight jacket. Eddie's all like
Yeah.
and then like you flip it in between and just be these bikini girls.
Absolutely.
And like Heather Thomas and different. Most of them you didn't know who they were, but she was actually a celebrity that was also a pinup.
Right.
Yeah, I remember the Heather Thomas posters. That's probably the like her, and then later Samantha Fox was kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's that puberty thing, man. Because I remember the videos would come on MTV, and I would just lock up, and just watching the TV, just like right. So yeah, it's amazing how, and again, it's all about when we talked about just MTV and how it all lined up. It hit right at that age for me to where life was changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. And I think I said before that the first female that I was like, wow, was Blondie on American Bandstand. And, of course, that just carried over into, obviously, the MTV generation. And, there's even a time there where I thought Chrissy Hynde was kind of hot. And I go, yeah. But it was because she was the rocker chick,
Well, dude, that was the thing. Like, with the rocker chicks, probably because... I was gonna say there was a couple more I wanted to talk about before we got to the rocker chick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
let's
keep going.
No. I mean, we certainly would know. Like, I didn't want to skip past it, but so I think then next for my age group was going to be Alyssa Milano.
Sure.
And the weird thing was like Alyssa Milano's like a year or so older than me, so we're like precisely the same age. So when she was famous on TV,
yeah.
She kind of looked like all the girls at school anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't for me anyway. It wasn't a whole lot different than like the same cute girls who were inaccessible at school were also inaccessible on TV. So everybody had a crush on her, and I was never like, hey man, if she would have called my house and asked if I wanted to go out, I would have certainly been like, well, sure,
yeah.
Hell yeah. But I was never like just infatuated and like drop dead. But Alyssa Milano. She's kind of crafted herself into an internet personality now.
Yeah.
Like in a sort of
wacko,
weird sort of way. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people who either like her or dislike her now realize how actually popular she was.
Oh yeah.
With Who's the Boss? I mean, a lot of like.
Commando.
Back whenever there was actually magazines. I know magazines actually, they still exist, but remember you'd go to the store with your parents and there'd be actually magazines, like Fangoria, and there was all these teenager magazines that had pictures of like Corey Haim and Corey Feldman and
Teen
Alyssa
Beat.
Milano.
There was Teen Beat. There was
that kind of stuff.
16, all those magazines, yeah.
They're always talking about, who they had a crush on and stuff like that. And that was another one of those things that was just kind of lost on me, but it was there. It was part of pop culture. It was the same as, just like it was alongside MTV. It was this kind of just celebrity amplification, marketing and stuff. And Alyssa Milano was huge.
Well, but the thing about it, and I think we're kind of getting to that point, because there's one thing to like, Wonder Woman and all these people that were larger than life, but Alyssa Milano made it feel like the girl next door, the wholesome, George Carlin always talk about, hey, who do you fantasize about when you're doing your business? Well, he said for him, it was never the celebrities. It was always, the girl next door. He's like, hey, this could happen.
Yeah, right. It could, right? Because eventually you're going to find somebody's girl next door and go out with them, right?
But when you go back and you look at the ones that we like, just like Marsha Brady for my age group, like you said, Alyssa Milano, if you go to Elizabeth Shue, all these characters are Phoebe Cates, the girl next door,
Right. Well, and that's what Playboy built an empire on.
Yeah.
Like none of those girls were girl next door, but they set them up to be like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know whose door they live next to, but it certainly wasn't mine. But that's a good one, because I wrote this down because my kids like to watch Wheel of Fortune. So do you remember the giant, huge, big deal about Vanna White and Playboy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's like we have Vanna White. She was a huge celebrity. It's like that, like mid-'80s. She's a huge. Wheel of Fortune was at its peak.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's still on TV.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, we have Vanna White. We have Vanna White. It was probably like their biggest selling issue ever, and you got it, and it was like Sears catalog. It was like the biggest letdown of ever. You're just like, there's nothing more, like Victoria's Secret is more risque than that. It's like you had to have somebody, you like had to have a friend that had a brother who had a dad who could get, like, it's like scoring some kind of crazy drug, and you finally get it, you're like, whoa, check it out. Oh man, that was the biggest letdown ever.
Well, then you also had the thing with Madonna as well, right? Because she became the big superstar, and then Playboy got their hands on her nude pictures of the time, which were not great. You know.
Yeah. And then she turned around and made that book like in the early '90s. She was like, oh, here. I'm not going to let them make the money off of it. Just send it straight to me.
Yeah. I'll autograph it for you.
Oh, man.
So here's an oddball for you that I've always liked. And again, I'm stepping ahead of the boundaries, but this is early MTV again. But Kim Wilde, the girl saying Kids in America, she had this kind of punky attitude to her early on, and I was like, all right. And of course you saw where we just had our anniversary, and you can see, I mean, I'm all about the blondes, so
yeah, dude,
that's usually the
happy anniversary, by the way. It's kind of funny we're doing this show right, like
yeah,
but
again, like I said, I can't just say, oh yeah, because love you, honey,
See, I'm fortunate. I mean, obviously it depends on when and how good the kids are being, but I've been with my wife for coming up on 17 years. So,
yeah.
And I don't mean it like oh my God, it's like the time passes so quickly when time flies when you're having fun. That's the whole thing. Like you sit there and start calculating it up, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But
we've been married for 23, but we've been together for 33. We started dating in late 85, early 86. So we've been together since high school. I was a freshman in high school when we met.
That's awesome. Dude, that is a raise your glass to awesome. That is killer. But yeah, my wife's pretty cool because she's like, she'll always have that like somebody will be on TV and she'll point at him and she's like, he's on my list, on that celebrity whatever list. And it's like, rock and roll. I can dig it.
Well, it's like if my wife heard us talking about TJ Hooker, she'd be talking about Adrian's Med. That's all she'd be wanting to talk about. So,
as long as we're having a fun conversation and nobody's getting mad because you like, the reason they put these people in front of you is because they're attractive, right? Like let's not pretend otherwise. They're not putting people up there and being like, hey, you should like their personality, because a lot of celebrities are jerks,
right?
So, male and female, like it goes both ways. But I was gonna say, like, that was another one that was very, for me, right before we get into the rockers, because everybody fell in love with Michelle Pfeiffer when she, before Batman. She was big when Batman came out.
Well, Scarface was your starting point, and of course she kept getting roles outside. Well, Grease too. Again, Adrian's Med.
HBO playing Grease 2 on heavy rotation. Total stupid teenage fantasy movie where, like, he flies the motorcycle off into space. It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
But Michelle Pfeiffer in Grease 2. Like, that was one that I just could not look away from. She's just gorgeous. She's just. And then when she was in Catwoman, that even like that, I just said that whole, like, my list, and I'm not, my type is brunette. But if Michelle Pfeiffer were to ever like throw me an eyebrow, she's on my list. Be like, babe, hey, I gotta go. It's Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, what you gonna do?
So yeah, coming out of Grease 2 around the same time period, you like you said, you put the picture out there. But yeah, man, Tanya Roberts from Beastmaster.
Mm, yes.
And then follow that up with the double bill of Sheena.
Dude, and here's the thing, because my parents, when I think back about it, like my parents are very strange, because they were I don't have to say pretty religious. Like for a while there, like they kind of passed in and out of phases. But when I was really small, they were pretty religious, right?
Yeah.
So we were at church every Sunday. My dad had opinions on stuff. Like he didn't like the fact that all my toys were so demonic with like Skeletor and like all that. Just like because obviously you had the religious right, the satanic panic. Everybody's talking about things and talk radio, whatever, right?
Right.
But I remember, dude, it's like, hey, we're going to watch this movie. And my sister was a baby. She's probably asleep in her crib because I was little. Like, we're going to watch this movie. And it turned out to be Beastmaster, right? And, like, they made popcorn and, like, mixed up some chocolate milk. And we were sitting on the couch and we were watching Beastmaster. And Beastmaster is violent.
Oh yeah,
as all hell. Like
yeah.
they do baby sacrifice. they have the ring that watches people that he stabs.
Yeah,
like they have the flying bat winged things that suck people insides out.
Those things.
I mean, it
terrified me as a kid, man.
Beastmaster is awesome,
yeah,
but it was not a movie for an 8-year-old. But the point at which it just got too much, and my mom sent me away for a while, was that
when they're at the
river scene
when they're swimming. This is where you draw the line. Yeah.
It's like, ooh, here, you have to go away. Okay, you can come back. Like, they had that thing where they put that thing in that dude's ear. I mean, like there's so many scenes in Beastmaster that are just so like over the top.
Let's save that for an episode.
We will, but it was the boobs. Like you can't see that. Like, that's not.
Yeah, we don't mind you seeing people getting stabbed and all that kind of stuff, but nudity, that's a big no-no.
Yeah,
it's strange how we're raised that way. I mean, not that I'm saying that it's right. I mean, I get it, but I think it's just to avoid questions. Why are they naked? Yeah, I don't know. Why does she look like that? Because she can.
Right. It's true, though, man. It's true.
Daddy, does mommy look like that? No. That's what it is. So they're not worried about it messing us up. They're just afraid of the questions.
Yeah. Which I can get because
sure.
We're about tired. We've been in this quarantine for so long that the children's shows we've hit the end of Disney Plus already. We're just like we're done. And so my wife's like, okay, so what are some movies that we can watch that are accessible for the children? Like so we look at Netflix. Netflix has Back to the Future Part 2 and 3. They don't have Part 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's like, I'm buying Part 1. So we watch Back to the Future. Juliet's sitting there watching with us. And she's asking questions here and there, like, what does this mean? Like, what's going on? Excuse me, as one would. But then when the movie ends, she's like, oh, hey, Dad, I know why they were calling it Back to the Future. And you're like, yeah, I'm hoping that you got at least that much out of it because, like, she's like, then we realize how much that they don't know about stuff because she's like, why do those guys want to shoot that? Why do they want to shoot him?
Yeah.
And of course, this is my daughter's take on things, like because plutonium is what did I tell her? I was like, it's extremely powerful. They use it in bombs and it can power cities. So it's very extremely expensive and also illegal, so only the government can have it. And those guys stole it, and he stole it from them. And so that's why they're mad and want to shoot him. She goes, oh, I thought it was like mall security. She thought it was like the guys that drive around. And they were just like, dudes. I was like, yeah, mall security doesn't generally drive around with AK-47s and RPGs, but...
Hey, kid logic, man. You got to love it.
Kid logic,
it's
right?
The best. A lot of times they make you stop and go, yeah, I can see where you get that. You know,
they're just hanging out in the mall parking lot in the middle of the night, and some dudes just drive up and start shooting. Like, well, I guess that I won't hang out in mall parking lots. It'll be cool. It'll be all right.
And that's that thing is when they hit that magic age. It's when they get most impressionable is when they start understanding everything and they can start putting the pieces together. So that's really that point when that switch comes on, and that's so incredible. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. You know, it's when that switch gets turned on, and it's almost like you've just opened your eyes for the first time to your own universe.
Mm-hmm. You look around and be like, oh, this is... Well, now, that was the thing. So we're like, okay, well, Back to the Future worked. Like, how about Short Circuit? We're sitting at the dinner table. I was like, what about Short Circuit? You know, because Meg was like, dude, Back to the Future has a lot more cuss words than I remember.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I was like, that's the 80s. They just kind of did that. Like, if they had it, if they were allowed 3 words, they just used them. Right.
Right.
I was like, Short Circuit has a whole lot more bad words. I remember. Like,
yeah.
It's that pointless cussing that they did in the 80s a lot.
Right.
And Juliet's like, what's Short Circuit about? We're like, it's about a robot. She goes, how about Terminator? I'm like, you are not watching Terminator, dude. Like, stop asking me about Terminator.
That's her next level, right? That's the one I'm going to break him on, because he won't let me watch it for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did the same thing with my daughter. She grew up. She had her own copy of Halloween at a very early age, which I don't recommend to anybody raising kids. But she became infatuated with the original Halloween. From there, I grew a horror freak, right? And she kept pressing my buttons about Last House on the Left. I was like, no, absolutely not. We're not watching Last House. She'd see it. I've seen this. So I don't know why I can't see that. And finally, one day I just broke and let her watch it. And she was over there crying, going, this is terrible. I was like, tried to tell you. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's things out there that just are not. They're not.
But as a kid, you're saying, all right, there's something there that they're not letting me be exposed to, and I want to test the waters, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna see how far I can get. That was just she does that with certain movies. She'll be like, so, hey, why does he wear a mask? Like, because he's ugly underneath. She's like, do they show him ugly without the mask on? It's like she was asking about Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And I was like, they show him for about half a second. She's like, in which movie? Like, she's just like getting
just, already planning it out.
She's digging it in. Like, nope, we're not watching any Halloweens. Not yet.
Man.
So you're talking about the rock chicks, dude.
Yeah.
So that there's 2 songs that are, I mean, but Lita Ford.
Oh yeah.
That Kiss Me Deadly.
Kiss Me Deadly video. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Just knock you right over. Cause
they did because you know, I'm kind of hit and miss with her, because sometimes she looks really great, and then sometimes you're like, not so great.
Oh,
but
yeah, she's a rocker chick.
But that video, they did exactly what they were trying to do, because yeah, she's that and Close My Eyes Forever. Both videos, she looks pretty fantastic in.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I was gonna say there's 2 songs, like the Runaways have Cherry Bomb. They've got a few others. She and Joan Jett were obviously the anchors of that band. Like they kind of knew what they were gonna. Yeah. Like this is not the band that's gonna get us over the top. We're gonna go off and do our own things, and both of them were just rocking as hell. Yeah. You know, it's like they're it would be interesting, because Lita Ford was kind of more into that kind of glam rock, and Joan Jett was more into the dirty punk. Yep. And then you think about what Guns N' Roses eventually was. Like pulled those two.
Right.
So they were together in the Runaways, which is essentially a punk band,
Mm-hmm.
and then they separated and kind of amplified their own personas out of it. It would have been interesting to see what they would have, if they would have come back together, what they would have done. Because
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Honestly, I often think about Joan Jett in terms of like Slash, and Lita Ford in terms of like Axl, just like the blonde and the brunette. Like,
Yeah, you always kind of think in the back of your mind, maybe one day at least them two get together and do a project together. Because they're still both very, very capable, musically.
Yeah.
So it would be great to see them do some sort of project all these years later together. Maybe form a new band. Don't worry about dragging out the old band. Just, hey, let's get together. Try to get the old vibe, but let's do it with some new blood kind of deal. Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. And it's funny because, of course, I was Lita Ford fan, and Danny from Hail Ming was always about Joan Jett. So there you go. We kind of had that odd and end thing, right?
I just remember that video for Kiss Me Deadly.
Oh yeah.
Stopping your tracks. Like, again, MTV, it's like the radio. Like, you had MTV on because it was MTV. It was just on. And if somebody wasn't specifically watching something else, MTV was on because it was music.
Right.
And then, like, you'd be walking through and it would be like a George Michael video and you'd be like, whatever. Every now and then it would be like a Lita Ford video and you'd stop and watch it.
Or whenever a Heart video came on, right?
Yep.
Nancy Wilson jumping around. Yeah.
She's pretty and again, in the 80s, they knew how to do it with the hair and the lights,
right.
And the flying V guitars and the leather pants, and like they just.
And I mean, and again, talking about the Lita Ford video. I mean, the total focus is her on them in those spandex pants with the knee pads, right? But if you noticed, every guy in the band, you never really see their faces, right? It's like a bunch of faceless macho dudes playing backup to her. And that's exactly what they're trying to make out. Same thing with the Heart videos, man. They pumped them up and made them glamorous, and the dudes were just kind of the dudes back there in the back with spiky hair going, yeah, I'm in Heart,
Well, honestly, I think there's a lot of those guys that were probably just studio musicians got pulled in, because you've seen those cautionary tales of, like in the movies where it's like, hey, we like your sound, but we only want you. And so, like the lead singer of the band just goes off with a whole bunch of new players.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, Heart was always an established band. I mean, it was always about the sisters, but they always had that group of musicians that were with them through a lot of years. But when it got to the video age, it didn't matter, right? It was going to be about the sisters, and Pat Benatar, same deal. She always had the same band. Joan Jett, same band. You just she's got still the majority of the same band now, but it didn't really matter. They're selling her.
Well, and you mentioned Chrissie Hynde earlier.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much it would suck to be pretty much the only survivor of a band that didn't fly into a mountain.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody in the Pretenders died except for like her and maybe one other guy who quit in the late 70s, and
crazy.
I'm like, dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
They lived a hard ass life. They really did. But and then their music's so pretty.
Yeah.
It's you get it out of Alice in Chains. The Pretenders not so much. In
the middle of the road, yeah. But man, come on, Olivia Newton-John. I mean,
oh yeah.
What can you say? I mean, when Physical came out and she cut the hair off short, it was just like, what just happened? Oh. What just happened to my body? Because I don't understand.
Dude, Olivia Newton-John was, she's always been huge. But
yeah.
She was really big when I was a little kid, and I've posted this on Facebook a couple times, and people always laugh. But so like, we had a huge record collection, right? Like, my dad had this entertainment center, and It was probably like 3.5 feet for a big screen TV. Below it was like album storage, and then next to it was another little thing for the big tower speakers.
Yeah.
The album storage was like 2 levels, and that held about a quarter of his collection. It was like the prime stuff, and the rest of it was just in boxes and set around other places in the house. And you can go and you can pull records and play whatever you wanted. And he had a whole bunch of cool old promo stuff, but he wasn't so big into Olivia NewtonJohn, but my mom was, so she went and bought the records. But I didn't. I was a little kid. I didn't know. So I thought Olivia NewtonJohn was a band, like Peter, Paul, and Mary. I didn't realize that it was a name.
Right.
I thought it was Olivia, Newt,
right.
and John.
Which one of you guys is Newt?
I assumed that Newt and John were like the guitar player and the drummer, and then like Olivia sang, because And I swear to God, dude, it threw me hard when I figured out it was just one person. I was like, but what happened to Newt? Like, Newt existed, and then he stopped existing.
What happened to Newt? They fired Newt. It's just Olivia now.
Yeah.
Hey, I did the same thing as a kid the first time I heard Hall & Oates. I'm like, really? I mean, you're talking about a country boy from Tennessee, and you're telling me there's a band called Hall & Oates. It's like, I visualize a dude in coveralls with a wheelbarrow going, hey, guys, I'm Hall & Oates.
Dude, we talked about my dad and like Superman, and my dad used to call Hall & Oates the Cheerio truck. Like, why are you like the song will be on? He's like, oh, it's the Cheerio truck. It's like Hall & Oates.
Hey, REO Speedwagon. I'm thinking, man, they must really like cookies.
Right. So but yeah, because I'll never get that image out of my mind of like a Cheerio truck. Like, private eyes watching you.
Oh man. Doral Pesh from Warlock. You familiar with her?
Somebody posted that video.
Holy smokes. Yep. Man, that time frame, she was smoking.
I was just about to say Tawny Katane.
Oh yeah.
She went out and made the Ouija board movies and stuff. But
which board?
There's never going to be anything better than her crawling down that car while Whitesnake is screaming.
Bachelor Party is one of my favorite comedies of all time, but her on that car takes that out anytime.
Dude.
And the video for what was the other one? Is This Love? When she's packing up her stuff and leaving, and you getting the little shimmy down the hallway.
Dude, so much just like...
We're just making total pigs of ourselves here. Yeah.
Hey, Well, I was going to say, after Tawny Katane, then I have to get into like all of this was just me being a kid and being like, right. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
That's like Wayne's World regards, like, it makes me feel kind of funny.
Tia Carrera.
Right? Well, I was going to say, like, my punch in the gut, and even still now, like that like I have like daydreams was not even her not the actress, but Lydia Deetz from Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, well,
that kind of hits where you were at that point, right?
Yeah, but those dark eyes, dark clothes, and the light skin, and she's just like and man, oh man, Lydia Deetz. Well, I mean Winona Ryder anyway, because then she did Edward Scissorhands, right. And she turned blonde, which didn't quite work on her, but she was still like
yeah.
Winona Ryder had her crazy phase, but then she came back in Stranger Things, and she's still my age. She's still only a couple years older than me, and I'm just like, yep, still,
yep,
still got it. She's still as crazy as ever.
Right.
I mean, she's catbird crazy, knocking off the walls at the back of her house with the Christmas light Ouija board. But hey, What you gonna do when your kid gets kidnapped? You might as well. Right?
Well, that's what happens when you grow up with Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me, that never was my thing because I would be afraid to like leave this person in a bad mood. You know, I didn't want to like, man, I really want to break up, but I'm afraid she'll go hang herself. Nah, that's just. Yeah.
There's that. Never really thought of it like that. Thanks, man. You leave her in a bad mood. You like, well, Johnny Depp, he tattooed her name out of his arm, and she went and stole a bunch of stuff from like jewelry stores. So I guess you find out what happens when like life has actually told us what would happen if that happened.
There you go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of blank from that point on, unless you started getting into some movies, more movie stuff. But I mean, there's your, Pat Benatar. Hey, I mean, somebody put out the picture of Legend of Billie Jean, man. I mean, Helen Slater.
Helen Slater. Yeah.
Yeah. Supergirl.
Like I said, you kind of blank. That's whenever you, like, so Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, that would have been like, 88, 90, that sort of, right around then, you start getting your own girlfriends, right? Like,
yeah.
You're not as in completely in love with the celebrities because you got, somebody you're at least hanging out with, it's not Winona Ryder, and you're not going to leave her cold and sad, like you just said, because that's weird. But yeah, then go through the 90s. I don't know. Young Angelina Jolie was pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't dig her crazy, but she sure was pretty.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody was completely in love with Jennifer Aniston, but she always seemed a little high-strung to me.
My brother-in-law was always about her, but she didn't do a lot for me, So I wouldn't, any of the girls from Friends, I was like, no. Great show. I loved the show, but I never saw somebody I was like, yeah. So,
yeah.
I was more into Gracie Law from Big Trouble in Little China, right?
Right? Well, and then you say, like, your wife looks like Goldie Hawn, so it's like, there's, Kurt Russell's a lucky dude, man.
There you go.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I think that just kind of ran through it. We're going to have to post some pictures of some of these fine ladies. We will...
Yep. And don't just make, I mean, if you're listening and you're not into the ladies, if you've got heartthrobs out there, I know a friend of mine, Amy Cross, she always loved it whenever we would post pictures of like Rick Springfield, So there's definitely those hunks out there that you ladies are crazy about. Hey, post those too. We're not totally closed-minded.
Well, and one of the reasons I thought this would be a good episode is because whenever I am posting the pictures of the ladies are loving it and being
right.
like, oh, she's so awesome. I remember her here and there and stuff. And there shows what's awesome.
Sure.
I don't. It's like we're not gonna get politically weird. We're not gonna talk about serious stuff. This is what's awesome.
Yeah, if Ben Stein is your guy, hey, put a picture of Ben Stein out there. I don't
Exactly. Hey, we mentioned Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns. You can always post up Danny DeVito.
Oh,
Danny DeVito will liven up any discussion.
Pretty much.
Well, cool. Well, I think, dude, it's been a good conversation. I think this has been a good talk about what's awesome.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Awesome. We'll talk to you later on.